Hi, and welcome to the Citrix Virtual Applications and Desktops Scripting Challenge, one of several challenges we're running at Citrix Converge 2021. I'm Pat Patterson. I'm the Director of Developer Evangelism here at Citrix, and I'm joined by my co-conspirator, Lee. Lee, introduce yourself. What do you do?
Okay, thanks, Pat. I'm Lee Jeffries. I'm an independent consultant in the UK. I like to be active in the community, maintain a blog, be active on social media, and every now and then I do things for Citrix. I'm part of the Citrix Technology Professional Group, and I like working in the EUC space. So this is right up my street, Pat.
All right, and I'll mention I've been at Citrix now for about 15 months. So I'm getting the hang of things, but Lee's help has been invaluable in bringing this challenge together. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to track down resources in a Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops service instance. So this is the cloud service, CVAD service, also known as. And so we actually have an instance especially for you to work in. Now, there's one catch, isn't there, Lee? What's going to make it difficult for people?
We put some caveats around these challenges, haven't we, Pat?
Yeah, you don't have the username and password to this environment. That means that you can't just log in and use Web Studio to ferret around and find the information we're looking for. But we are going to give you a client application ID and secret. And this will allow you to use the CVAD remote PowerShell SDK or the CVAD REST API to interrogate this instance, to bring back the resources, and to find the information that we're looking for. So, Lee, why even write scripts, right? We can use the UI. Why even do this?
Well, the best way to describe the benefits around scripting is probably the automation side, and being able to do things automatically, monitor your environment automatically, and not only that, maintain it automatically based on certain criteria.
Right, and I think one of the things that's pretty attractive is once you've scripted something, you can schedule it to happen whenever. So you don't have to be up at 4 a.m. to do some some task out of business hours. It can just run happily, and you can wake up in the morning and check that it actually worked. And I think one of the things that's really interesting for me when we talk about scripting and DevOps is, although it saves admins a lot of time, and it allows us to automate those repetitive tasks, it's really the increase in quality that people talk about. So the fact that once you've scripted something, you can put that script in change control, you can run it repeatedly, reliably, and you can change things over time and keep a record of your changes. So if something messes up, you can roll back to the last known good version. And that's a really, really powerful capability. So in this challenge, there are 3 skill levels. So we really want this to be open to everybody in the community, even if you know a bit about CVAD, but you've never touched the SDK or scripting ever before. So I would advise you, if that describes you, to go for the Apprentice challenge. And I'll describe these challenges in more detail in a moment. The Artisan challenge is if you've maybe written a few scripts, you know your way around the SDK, and you want a little bit more of a challenge there. And then finally, if you're like Lee, certainly not like me, if you're like Lee and you really know your stuff, we have a Virtuoso level challenge. And of course, the prizes, which I'll cover in a few minutes, increase with those challenge levels. So it's definitely worth stretching yourself a little bit, but you can only enter once. You can't be an apprentice and an artisan and a virtuoso, get 3 bites of the cherry. You've got to pick your task carefully. Now, this apprentice challenge, this should be pretty straightforward, right, Lee?
I think so, Pat.
We want you to write a script to output the UUID of a machine. So that's that long string with the hyphens in. It's not like the one that's on screen, that's a SID. But we want you to write a script to output the UUID of a machine with a particular SID. So the wrinkle is that you've got to check that that machine has a particular tag. Now, we know that a SID will uniquely identify a machine. So we put that in to say, okay, if that machine existed but did not have that tag, then your script should return nothing. And then there's one more detail to remember here is we're asking for just that UUID. We don't want the entire machine object with the whole description and everything else. We're just looking for that UUID. So our artisan challenge, the intermediate difficulty, is to write a script. So again, we're looking for that UUID, that universally unique identifier, and you can see a couple of examples there on the screen. So we're looking for the UUID of a machine with a SID that has the same character in positions 15, 25, and 37. Don't worry about writing all this down. All of what I'm explaining is on the hackathon and challenges area of the event platform. You click a tab up there somewhere. Now, a couple of wrinkles here. Us humans count starting with 1, but most programming languages index arrays starting with 0. So you'll have to take that into account when you're looking for those characters at those positions.
There's a bit of a hint there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a little bit, yeah.
Array is a bit of a hint.
Yeah. Also, in this challenge, we're looking for you to output just that bare string rather than the whole UUID object. So we're just looking for those digits and letters and hyphens, and we don't want the GUID header or anything like that. Often one script feeds another, and the output from your script must follow a very specific format, just like this. Okay, on to the Virtuoso challenge. So this is where we're really stretching you. Now, on the screen, again, don't be scribbling these down. They're all on the in the event platform. So we've got 3 pairs of resources with those UUIDs. Now, if you examine those again through PowerShell or Python or whatever language you like, through the SDK or the APIs, you're to look for the tags in those pairs of resources. So you'll find that those 2 machines have some tags in common, and those 2 delivery groups have some tags in common, and so on. And we're just looking for the tags that have the word Darcy in their description. And here's where I'll thank Lee for setting a lot of this up. And I think you pulled a bit of text from, was it Pride and Prejudice?
It is indeed, yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
So if you kind of have a little spelunk around, if you have a little look around the environment, you'll find a few more names in there. But anyway, so these pairs, the 2 machines, have some number of tags in common, and you're to filter out just the tags that have the word Darcy in their description. And you should end up with some words, some tag names, and you should be able to rearrange those tag names to form a phrase relevant to this challenge. So hopefully that will become clear as you do it. And I would say read the questions carefully. That last one in particular, a couple of ways you could read it. If you're in doubt, reach out to a mentor. So Lee will be a mentor, I'll be a mentor, and there will be other folks online in the event platform that can point you in the right direction. As I mentioned before, you can only submit a single answer and script. And you might want to start with the apprentice task for moving up so that if you do run out of time, you have something to submit. Now, getting started. You've got two basic choices here on what the tools you can use. Now, Lee, the CVAD Remote PowerShell SDK, that's a great choice if you already have some experience with CVAD or PowerShell, right? That's been around for a while.
I'd recommend for anybody, there's lots of guides for that, and I'd recommend for anybody to start with that. So if you are just beginning and you want to enter this, stick with the PowerShell SDK, because it really is the easiest to get to grips with, to authenticate, and then actually just start running commands. And if you're used to writing PowerShell scripts for on-prem versions of Citrix, it's pretty much the same command set. So yeah, Stick with that.
I think in the scope of this challenge, it's identical. There's really no difference. You would do this in exactly the same way. Now, there are trade-offs between different approaches. A trade-off here is that you must write your script in PowerShell. The SDK only works with PowerShell, and you must be writing it on a Windows machine. Now, those restrictions are part of the reason that the CVAD REST API exists, because we're not always working in PowerShell from Windows. Now, the great thing about CVAD REST API is that you can integrate with the CVAD service from any programming or scripting language, from any operating system. Just about anything you use nowadays will let you make an HTTP call, which is all REST is. It's passing this JSON format with curly brackets over HTTP. Now, the trade-off is the REST API is a lower level interface than the SDK. So that just means you'll have to write more code to achieve the same results. You're formatting up your request, sending it via HTTP, and then parsing the response to make sense of it, which is kind of all built into the remote PowerShell SDK. So there are a couple of key sessions to watch out for. In fact, 3. The first I would recommend is driving the Citrix Cloud REST API with PowerShell. So that is today, Tuesday, October 26th, if you're watching this live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that's going to explain how you authenticate via OAuth and interact with the Citrix Cloud and via the REST API using PowerShell. So if you know a bit of PowerShell and you want to kind of challenge yourself with the REST API, that could be a good session to watch. And Guy Leach is presenting that. And I'd say, present company accepted. Guy, I look to Guy on scripting matters as well as Lee. He really knows his stuff.
He is the PowerShell master.
He is the PowerShell maestro. Then the second session I would direct you to is on Thursday at the beginning of the program, 9 a.m., an automation fight night, scripting versus programming. So this will be really fun. This is Eltio and Ryan from our partner RawWorks. They did a similar session last year, and it was the most viewed session of Converge. So they'll be talking about PowerShell, Python, C#. And again, this will give you a really good idea of different tools you can use if you want to stretch yourself and learn a bit, right? That's what these hackathons are about, is maybe trying a new technique in the pursuit of winning that prize. And the final session is how you can build on top of the CVAD service microapps functionality. This is a session by Phil Whiffen, one of my colleagues here at Citrix. And although he's talking about microapps calling the CVAD service API, the kind of techniques using that REST API are pretty relevant, and it'll be an interesting session in any case. A couple more resources. I actually recorded a webinar, SDK versus API, on choosing the correct CVAD tool for the job. Now, this might be useful if you're going back and forth, or even if, like Lee, you might be a thorough expert in PowerShell and the SDK, but maybe using this as an opportunity to do something new. And then on the same lines, there's a tutorial, a Citrix Cloud API walkthrough that explains how to get started with that CVAD REST API. And that's, again, this is all linked from this platform, Hackathon and Challenges. And now, if you do get stuck, mentioned before, we've got mentors standing by. Lee, myself, and others. You can reach out to us via the Virtual Apps and Desktops discussion group, or you can reach out to us directly. We're listed as mentors in the towards the bottom, I think, of the Hackathon and Challenges page, or the CVAD scripting page. And of course, you're going to have to get your entry to us. Now, this challenge runs from today, now, until November the 8th, midnight Pacific time. And all of the instructions for entering will be on the CVAD scripting challenge page. All of the resources that I've mentioned, this presentation included, will continue to be available after we finish the conference on Thursday. So right up until November the 8th, you'll have access to everything here, including the discussion forums and the mentors. But please get your entries in by midnight Pacific time, Friday, November 8th. There will not be an extension. Prizes. This is what you've been waiting for. Let's start with the big one. So the big fish in the Virtuoso category will be competing for a first prize of $1,000. Now, we're not going to send you an envelope with 10 Benjamin Franklins in. What this means is that we have a range of prizes at this level, online prizes that you can have, subscriptions and so on, or gift cards. So we can sort that out, and we can sort that out in your local currency. So second and third prizes in that Virtuoso category, $500 and $250, very worthwhile. And then going down the Artisan level, $600 first prize, $300 second, $150 third, and then Apprentice, $300, $150, $75. We have a special $500 prize for the script that solves that Virtuoso challenge in the fewest possible characters. So this is an exercise in producing a script that does the job, is completely unreadable, uses every alias and trick, and omits spaces to get that character count down. So that will be fun, seeing just how much you can shrink that down. Anything that Lee and I haven't mentioned, any questions you have, are probably covered in the official rules and FAQ. So look at that CVAD scripting challenge page. Lee, do you have any parting comments?
I think I will just repeat a couple of things that you've mentioned, Pat. Read the questions carefully, right? And you can do this however you like, using the SDK or using the API in whatever language you want. So good luck. All the best.
All right. And thanks so much, Lee, for helping me put this together. And I've learned a lot from you in the past few weeks. Cheers. Bye-bye.